Hello, and welcome to Mr. Quickest Teaches. In this lesson, I'll be analyzing Sarah Jackson's poem, The Instant of My Death. I'll simplify the poem. Now, the analysis on YouTube is not going to be complete. There's a sample analysis. For the course that contains all 15 poems, if you're ready for preparing for the GCSE, please visit mrquickestteaches.com. You'll find it in the description below. And the usefulness of purchasing the course is that you're going to have access to sample A-star and or grade 9 answers for predicted questions, which are going to be quite useful for you whether you're writing the exam in March, May, or October, November. Also, if you need like one-on-one or group lessons for the GCSE, on all 4 components, the prose, drama, poetry, on scene paper, even if you can't find it on YouTube or any of my social media handles, you can reach out to me and I can help you with that, prepare you for any of those exams. Also, if you need help as well for the AS or A level or other kinds of exams, EDUCAS, AQA, you can also reach out to me on plus 233 55 398 5533, or you can also email me on mrquickestteaches@gmail.com. Now let's jump into the poem. Now, a bit of information about Sarah Jackson. She was born in 1977. She grew up in Berkshire, and one of the key things I saw about her when I was, preparing for this analysis is that she's quite accomplished. She was awarded the Council Fund in 2009, shortlisted for the Avon International Poetry Competition in 2010, and she has won numerous, kinds of prizes, especially the Simon Haney Center Prize for Poetry, which is, one of the poets that I really like. His poem, Meet Them Break. Now, about the poem. This is how the poem appears on the page. So observe that it's a 3-verse poem. Some of the lines are couplets, that means have 2 lines, and some of them also have 3 lines as well. You see my notes on the structure on the form, which is useful that you have to talk about if you're trying to achieve either a grade 9 or an A-star. You have to speak about that in your analysis. Let me begin by reading the poem, The Instant of My Death by Sarah Jackson. The bus is crammed, and the fat man rubbed against my leg like a dumb cat, while he read the Jakarta Tales 3 rows from the back. And we all stumbled on, wheels and hours grinding, tripping as pity rose up around us, sky propped open by its peak. I traced the rock line on the window with my finger, counted cows and compass, felt my eyes glaze over, until we reached Granfo. There, where the road divided, I saw a thin boy in red flannel squat between 2 dabbers. A black-eyed beam slipped in between 2 cracks. He was so small that I almost missed him, until he turned, gap-toothed, and shot me with a toy gun. And a piece of me stopped there, though the bus moved on, and the fat man beside me cracked open an apple with a stump. Now, this is how the poem, the key thing that we see, the setting of the poem. So this poem is set in the interior of a bus. And we see that the writer uses words to reveal to the reader that this is something that happened a while ago. So possibly she's recounting a past event, right? This is quite useful. So we see that it's something that's from the past, and she's revealing it to the reader, which is, quite revealing. Pun there. Now, we also see the use of a powerful adjective as well when she says that the bus is crammed. Now, why is it a powerful adjective? Because it provides vivid visual imagery of an extremely well-peopled, overcrowded interior of a bus. Crammed also creates the impression that the bus was so full that it was bursting at the seams, and there was no space to maneuver. So that's the impression that we get, by the use of crammed. Quite an important word there, powerful adjective. Then she adds and, which seems to be benign, but provides additional information. And then she reveals persona 1. That's the first person she speaks about. the fat man. Now, we know today in 2025 that that's not politically correct. However, her use of the fat man provides vivid visual imagery for the reader of an obese, large man with possibly large hands and legs. And he also creates the impression that the man's size, as this fat man's size, further constricted her, made it very difficult for her to be free. Now, she continues by providing tactile imagery of how she interacted with this man, or was forced to interact with this man, because she said he rubbed against her. So we see the use of tactile imagery there, and then preposition. Now, rubbed against shows that it was a strong contact. It also shows that the man's actions were quite deliberate and unwanted and irritating. So it's not something that she wanted. But what part of her body does he touch? She tells the reader that my leg. So that's a first person singular, and this is persona 2 because the fat man is persona 1, but then the narrator or the speaker or the poetic voice, depending on how you want to speak about this person, is persona 2. So remember, it is she that is relaying to us experience. Now, she describes the way the man makes contact with her as like a damp cat. That's a simile, and that communicates powerfully that it was irritating for her. And he also suggests that the fat man repeatedly smeared his sweat or his precipitation on her. Again, something that would have made the travel quite, uncomfortable. Then we see the use of enjambment as well, because we see the use of the flow of words from one line to the next. So like a damp cat, and then it flows. And this shows us that the speaker paused momentarily to choose the best words with which to describe the kind of interaction that she had with the fat man. Then, in the next line, which is the third line of the first stanza, she points or she reveals that there's another persona. This time, we see that because she refers to the person as you. The third person, the second person pronoun you. And this is important because we see that this person is in the bus, but this person is not having that kind of, being rubbed against or discomforting relationship or interaction in the bus. Even though, the person is in this bus, the person is having a very, very alternative or sort of like a different experience entirely. And why is the person doing that? Because he's reading. So she tells us that he read this persona 3, that he's reading. And this presents persona 3, even though the reader does not know him, as someone that is nerdy, bookwormish as well. It's also possible that because this persona 3 is reading, he's able to mentally transport himself to a bygone era. He talks about the Jakarta Tales, which is the ancient Buddhist epic about the Buddhist, pantheons. And then she tells us where this person is, 3 rows from the back. So it appears that this person may even be in a more constricted part of the bus, but the person is not, bothered. He's just reading, or she's just reading, just having a good time while this persona, 2, that's the speaker, is having a torrid time because they are sitting in this cram bus with the fat man. Now, in the second stanza, she says, and we all stumbled on. So her use of and we all stumbled on, first of all, communicates a shared or the choreographed nature. It's like a choreography. So the choreographed nature of the experience. So all of them, all 3 personas, the fat man, the speaker, the person reading in Jakarta Tales, are all in this cram bus, but then they are all going together. Now, her use of the word stumbled on provides vivid visual, so we can see it. It's like the buses, the ground is uneven, and then the place is bumpy and quite mountainous, but then they are making some progress for whatever it's worth. Then she continues and says, we see the use of the semicolon there. She says, wheels and hours grinding. Now, wheels grinding provides auditory imagery of the noisy and strenuous nature of the journey on the many tires of the bus. Then if you talk about, because she says wheels and hours grinding, again, if she talks about the hours also grinding, it also creates the impression that time was going on extremely slowly. She's having this difficult, discomforting time, and then it's taking a very long time for them to get to their destination. So the journey for her is with great difficulty, it's painful, it's contracted, it's eternal. I mean, as it were. She wants to get to their final destination. Then she continues and she says, tripping. Now, the word tripping there emphasizes the stumbling or falling nature of the journey. Remember, if you're stumbling, it's like you're falling. Tripping, again, carries that kind of idea. They're almost synonymous in a way. And he highlights that the bus had to go over obstacles because both words are synonymous are synonyms. Now, again, we also see the use of enjambment as well, because after the word tripping, we see that that's the end of the line, but then it continues into the next line. So it's like the bus careened strenuously and fell without control down a steep elevation. That's the impression that the writer uses, or the poet uses, because she ends the line with tripping. Now, we see the use of personification. That's one of the key things, devices that we see in terms of that the writer uses to provide vivid visual imagery for the reader. She says, as pity rolls around us. Now, the use of as pity, the capital S in pity, it tells us that it's a proper noun, right? It personifies the mountain or the Spiti mountain and provides vivid visual imagery of it, like a sleeping giant that has awoken, and then now it's encircled the speaker and other passengers. And that's not the only thing that she does. She continues and says, sky propped open by its peak. So this Spiti mountain is so powerful that it acts like it's stabbed the various points in the sky and then propped it open, and with its peaks, its sharp peaks. Just think of the poles that are used to hold canopies. So skies propped open by its peaks creates the impression that the peaks of Spiti, the mountain Spiti, are pillars or beams stuck to the ground that are propped open in the canopy-like sky. So we see here some metaphorical presentation of the sky, like a canopy, right? The expression also powerfully communicates the extreme closeness of the peaks of the Spiti to the sky. So it's so mountainous that, literally they can touch the sky. That's the impression that she gives them when she says, sky propped open by its peak. Again, with the course, you can see how to, present these information as piece of writing. Now, Spiti, the mention of the Spiti is important because it's the Spiti Valley. It's one of the mountainous range of the Himalayas. It's found in India. The Himalayas touches multiple countries, but then this portion is in India. It also reveals the approximate setting of the elevated nature of the roads through which the bus travels. So these are high elevations, and the bus is traveling through Spiti, right? And then the bus traveled. The use of the word peaks there provides vivid visual imagery of the many pointed spear-like points of the mountain. So it's like spear. Again, providing vivid visual imagery for the reader.